So just pause the video here as I quickly go through the build before we start the combat. But if you've been following this build from my last posts and videos on it, I changed it once again. I got rid of bullet, whatever it's called in the blue tree, the gun damage, 40% gun damage, to get 35%, get Wield the Storm in the red tree, 35% status damage and duration. Now, I don't think the duration actually helps Tail of the Comet, from what I could tell. I know it helps weakness, though, which helps my pulse and everything, keep it on it even more consistently. But the status damage definitely affects it. It affects everything, I could test. And when I did this, the result was my heavy weapons are basically doing the same kind of damage, if not actually, I think they're actually doing a little bit more, at least over time, as you expect, damage over time. So losing 40% gun damage, which does affect heavy weapons, to then gain 35% status damage for Tail of the Comet, seemed to actually be a better trade-off for them. But I also did it mostly just, again, because I love my Forge Wave spamming. I want to finally have a tank. I want a tank build that, again, prioritizes being a tank over damage, but can somehow still make Forge Wave spamming worth it on max difficulty. I mean, it'll never be worth it to kill a boss, but yeah, this combination, I mean, I figured it out when I did crit chance instead and realized stacking crit chance and crit damage was better on it than just stacking raw damage alone. And that also helps our tankiness, because more crits means more status effects, so more shield, more ammo replenishing too. This is very much like a status build tank, basically. But Wield the Storm, it was another substantial bonus to Forge Waves, which aren't getting benefited by gun damage, because I'm not using I Am a Gun, which I did before. Try to max gun damage with like I Am a Gun. It wasn't worth it. If you're not going to go for a full damage build, if you're going more of the tank style like I do, then I'm learning like for your damage to capitalize on your damage on this build so that you still do decent damage while you focus on being a super tank instead. So maintaining Scourge forever, getting gigantic amount of shield regen and everything, having infinite invulnerability because of Scourge. So that combo, then you combine it with a bunch of status application chance and crit chance to then actually help your damage too. So now just some final notes while I'm just looting, killing a few guys here, the end of this video basically. Not really focused much on anything anymore, but... So the other good thing about this build is it can be improved in so many ways. I mean, like I said, we just gave up gun damage to get Wield the Storm. Obviously, whenever they increase the level cap, you know, we can spend 10 points, you know, getting 40% gun damage in the blue tree and getting another, like, 40-ish% by getting Bullet Storm in the red tree. But actually, what I think I want to do, especially since they'll probably increase it, you know, potentially multiple times, so there might be as much as like 20-something levels, 22 more skill points you could consider for this build. So what I actually think would be best is going all in the red tree, getting Bullet Storm, but not getting maxed out on it, just getting it to unlock Catastrophe, so we get more crit hit chance from inflicting shock, which obviously we inflict now all the freaking time from anything. And then it also gives crit damage from Incendiary, which we're not using. You could potentially go Onslaughter instead of Scourge, though, to get your heavy weapons to inflict Incendiary, and they would inflict... So they would inflict Incendiary, Cryo, because of Tail of the Comet still applying, and Shock from whatever it's called, Blackout. So you could do that. I might try that at some point in the future. I tried it earlier and I didn't think it was worth it. Mostly because Scourge, I like Scourge more, and it's better for a tank, frankly. Onslaught is still a good tank skill, but Scourge is still just best because of the freaking invulnerability it gives you. But also the pulse, like the Cryo pulse is just so good because it's just so AFK mode on him. Like, if I'm not hitting anything or not landing hits or forgetting things or anything like that, it pretty much is always doing actually decent damage now over time to fodder enemies at least. But most importantly, just like easily maintaining my shield and ammo even better because of the AoE from the pulse. And it taunts the enemies, which to me is like, well, that means I'm even doing my job as a tank. I'm taunting enemies and healing allies too through it. So it's just so too good overall to give up. But still, I mean, you could always just use fire ordnance. So I could always just switch up my kinetic ordnance to go flame instead. Easily inflict, because of my status application chance in this build, I'll be easily inflicting fire all the time too. So Catastrophe could potentially be really good in the future. Getting Bullet Storm, getting Catastrophe, then getting Ramparts, whatever it's called, that gives you even more status chance based on how high your shield is, which is always at max on this build pretty much. And then giving you Fire Rate, which won't help our Forge Waves, but will further help the damage on all of our heavy weapons. And since this is more of a status, is becoming more of a status crit build, Fire Rate in the future will help our DPS overall to heavy weapons a lot more than raw gun damage will, because it just simply becomes a flat out, like, 20% fire rate, especially when we have infinite ammo, is basically just 20% more DPS, damage over second overall, like, period. So I know fire rate is like the best thing ever to get for this kind of build for the heavy weapons. So we can also go that route. I mean, we can even potentially combine that with, like, going Berserk too, and maybe even going, like, Forge Drones with the melee to get our Forge skill back repeatedly, and so get Berserk back repeated, or stack Berserk on this build maybe in the future. That would be really hard to do. You'd have to spend, like, 30 points, I think, to get all three of those combined. You'd have to lose, basically, stuff, which might prove to be worth it in the future. But the point is, though, is like there's so much potential. Like the green tree, we can get critical damage. I mean, 20% crit damage from the green tree, still great. We can combine that with Catastrophe. We're going to basically in the future and with more gear probably get 100% crit hit chance so that our Forge Waves and our heavy weapons land a crit every single time. So they'll just massively help our tankiness again, but then also, like, alright, stack crit damage to maximize our damage through that too. So, point is, there's a lot of potential for this build too in the future.